Hey there, and welcome to another deep dive series. Today, I'm really excited to talk about LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is a very interesting platform with a focus on professionals, and it's something that I've personally been using for quite a few years. I started my career in the recruiting and project solutions space, so with that, I had to adopt the platform early on. And from there, though, it's been a awesome assist in my career. I like to say it's almost like your digital resume, but it's also a great place to connect with other professionals. And over time, though, it's changed. It's changed quite a bit, and where it can be used for top of funnel type activities to help draw more business into your particular niche. And so approaching it that way and thinking about that way, it becomes important to understand who's on the platform. So we're going to share some of the demographics information, what type of media can be shared, best time of day to post, and then we'll cap this with some of my thoughts about the platform and how you might use it for your business. So let's jump into it. All right, let's talk about LinkedIn and who's on this platform. And per our discussion earlier, we're going to cover demographic information. We're going to talk about users, age, gender, geography, the type of media posts on the platform with text posts, photo, videos, and now stories on LinkedIn. And then we'll talk about engagement, time of day, lifespan, as well as we'll cap this with some of my thoughts in general on. And so without further ado, let's jump into users. There's 675 million monthly active users. That number has actually increased a bit, and it's over 700 million monthly active users. Now, it's not as quite as big as some of the other platforms you might see out there with billions of users with a B, but for there to be over 700 million professionals, and we'll talk about what kind of professionals on this platform, it is still a very, very strong reach as to who you can find on this platform. You'll see a mix that you would sort of expect from a business focused platform where 20% of these users are going to be between 18 to 24. So it's those individuals getting into college, starting to build out this profile, maybe not super active, maybe not super important to them yet because they haven't built a ton of skills. But then that 25 to 34-year-old range, right? You're into your first career, you're born in the digital realm, right? So you're going to start leveraging this to connect with your colleagues and people that you interface with from a business perspective. So I know for me, for instance, it's not only my colleagues, but it's when I have a meeting with somebody, I'll say, hey, I'm going to toss you a LinkedIn connection request. That way we can stay connected and work with each other and, going forward. Next, you're going to see 35 to 54. It's great. It's starting to wane in adoption in that age range. You're still catching a good chunk of millennials, older millennials, with the 35 to 40 range, and then you have the next generation above 40 who weren't terribly early adopters in technology, but they're starting to use it, starting to adopt it. And then at 55 plus, it's really not in their repertoire. They're going to have business cards that are going to approach it in a more traditional fashion. So it kind of makes sense as far as the curve goes when we start to talk age of users. Next, let's talk split. We're about 43% female to 57% male. Non-binary information was not gathered during this particular study, which again sort of makes sense. It is a bit of a surprise still to me that it's not closer to 50-50, but with the way the general business world has fallen as of late, you do have a higher majority of males on the platform than you do females, but that number is growing as greater equalities are achieved in the business space, which is something I'm personally pretty excited about. But it makes sense if you take just a raw numbers approach and view on the platform that it's going to be more male dominated on this platform. So let's take the next look at the statistics as to where all of these people live. And you're going to find something that's a fairly common trend where here in the US, we tend to think we're the only ones, right? It's an American mindset. Don't ask me why. But what we notice is that the majority of the platform isn't even in the US. 174 million users on the platform found in the US. The rest, global, right? 163 million is going to be the next biggest in Europe, where we have a variety of different countries caught up into that particular metric. But then you see a bigger spread in Australia, New Zealand, covering about 13 million there, Indonesia, 52 million in China, and then we have 17 million in Canada, 15 million in Mexico, to name some of the bigger areas where you're going to find LinkedIn usage. So it's not just going to be US-based business professionals. Even though it's a large portion, it's not the majority of the entire platform. So if your product or service has reach to other global regions, this might be something you want to consider using the platform for. And we're going to talk a little bit more about media types and posts and top of funnel activity, but knowing that you can reach other countries and other regions very easily with this platform, I think is a big plus. Now let's talk about media types. So LinkedIn, if you've been on the platform for quite some time, was basically just text posts and connections and job updates and skill updates, and then photos were added to that. People might add like an inspirational photo to something that they are mentioning. It was very business focused though. It was all about like infographics and quick text posts and wins in the business world, and a lot of just updates as to what a business professional might be up to. And then over time, they added videos, and then even more recently, they added stories. And you're like, well, why stories? As a business professional, why stories? Well, what we're seeing is people want to do business with people they know. They want to know a little bit about you, who you are, how you carry yourself, how you hold yourself, more so than just the words on paper. And because of that, the best medium for that was video. So there was a massive adoption in video on LinkedIn. It's one of the fastest growing under indexed portions of the platform, where it really allows for individuals to connect with other business folks, potential customers, especially if you're a B2B company or service where you're helping other businesses with the service you're providing. This is a golden platform for you. Let people know you, get to know you, understand what you're about, provide your value prop. And then now you can start doing that in micro doses with stories. And it's more like, what are you working on? Quick updates. There are people that maybe overshare because I think there's still a feeling out of how to use stories on LinkedIn, but it is a way for your audience to get to know you. And some cool things about videos, you can obviously embed videos like YouTube videos or share links to YouTube videos or other services like Vimeo, but it also supports native videos. And native videos actually get indexed a little bit higher and have a better user experience, in my opinion, because you can scroll, they can play right in the browser rather than clicking on it and either being redirected or having to then load the video and then play it. So it's a little bit of a smoother process if you can take advantage of the native video features found within LinkedIn. In my strategy though, my videos are oftentimes longer than 10 minutes. So it was a hindrance for me. So what I would take as an opportunity, just as an example, you probably see a couple posts on my LinkedIn business page for, this platform that I've created, where you post a video. In my case, it's a link to a YouTube video. And then I give a little bit of an insight and a write-up that's separate from the information found in the video, but it's a supporting mechanism to that. And that's a really great way to add original value and reach with your platform. Now, there is a lot of crazy questions about, is it better to post through a business page or post through your personal page? And for me personally, that's still something I'm experimenting with. I've actually found that I've gotten a little bit better adoption from native posts rather than a business posts. And so I'm playing around with some really interesting approaches to this, like posting on the business page, but then sharing it with my personal account. But there's still a detachment there. So really for you and your business services and specifically what kind of content you're posting, you're going to need to make that decision. Is it better that, or does your business have a lot of followers on LinkedIn? Then great, maybe natively posting. But if you as a personal brand have more reach than your business page, maybe it starts to make more sense for you to leverage just your personal brand and start posting that. And I think at the end of the day, that's where you're going to see people gravitate more towards, based on sort of my tests and the things I've tried, that I think you're going to get better adoption if you leverage your personal brand, talking about your products or services, than maybe leveraging your company's page to try to gain reach, because you've already created all those connections with your colleagues and people that you do business with. So the reach is a little bit more organic, and you're going to have better interactions when it comes to that. And then, as is true with almost all platforms out there, video is going to gain the most engagement. But LinkedIn is an interesting beast in that, because it doesn't really allow for, what's the best way to put this? People don't listen or watch LinkedIn with headphones. I think that's probably the straightest way to put that. They are generally scrolling through LinkedIn silently while at work. So if you're going to leverage video content, you really need to make sure to put subtitles. This is one note that's kind of weird for this platform versus other video platforms, is you're generally not going to watch a LinkedIn video with audio. It happens, so you should still have the audio there. But most people are scrolling through LinkedIn during the business day, a lot of times conducting business, looking for leads, looking for people to reach out to, and they're doing so without headphones or earbuds in. So make sure, if you're going to leverage video content, the most efficient way to do that is to include subtitles embedded into your LinkedIn videos. If you can't quite do that at this time, at the very least, videos are still going to gain the most engagement. People are going to watch those videos. So do keep that in mind. And then obviously that's going to be followed up by a picture or call to action type posts, with the final lowest interaction being found in text only posts. And stories, I think, are a little too new to be talking too much about as far as what sort of engagement they've are receiving on the platform. They are getting adoption, a surprising amount of adoption, but it's not super, I guess, ingrained into the behavior of individuals on the platform yet. So do use that with caution. I wouldn't say make it as part of your main strategy with LinkedIn, but maybe a supplemental strategy with LinkedIn. And again, more as a mechanism as you grow your platform to allow people to get to know you. So keeping that media type in mind, let's talk about best time of day to post. And we're, again, seeing a trend. We've talked about Instagram, we've talked about Facebook and Twitter, and now talking about LinkedIn. They're all falling sort of in the same window. It's sort of the best time being on Wednesday between 8 and 11. But for most days, it's going to be right around 10, 11, noon, right? You just, again, think about that person's business day. Think about your own business day. You're sitting there, you get into work early, you start pounding away on whatever activities, get caught up on email, and then, late to mid-morning, you're starting to get hungry, you're starting to slow down a little bit, so you start scrolling through LinkedIn. And that's when you start seeing the most activity. And then you see a spike again at or after lunch, because you've eaten, you've come back to the office, or you're sitting back at your desk. You're moving a little slow because your belly's full, whatever it might be. But you find these common trends with most platforms. It's going to be late morning and early afternoon are going to be the best times to post on the platform. And you'll see that again during LinkedIn, with very, very sharp drop-offs on the weekends. This isn't terribly common with every other platform, because people do go on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter a little bit more actively on the weekends than you do LinkedIn, which is, business focused. You do see it even kind of slow on Monday. And again, just think about your business day. Think about a traditional business day where I come in, I sit down, I want to get caught up. There's maybe tasks I didn't get done last week that I'm trying to tackle today. So Mondays are a little slow, but then you get into Tuesday through Friday, as kind of a standard business week, and you see that late morning, early afternoon, and then sharp drop off on Saturday, and then even sharper on Sunday. Almost no activity on Sunday on the platform. So if you're looking to gain engagement, avoid weekends. Short of that one, avoid weekends. Let's talk about how to improve some of your engagement on the platform. We talked a little bit about this. Use your personal profile. Having a business profile is nice. I think it can be used as a catch-all. But if you're going to announce a product or service, it's going to be around your personal profile. That's because you already have the organic reach. People want to get to know you. They know what you're about, what you're posting, who you are, not only in your current role, but who you were in your previous role, because it's a historical platform, right? You've been on it for a while, or if you're new to it, you're still going to put all of your historical data on there. So they know where you've been and how you've gotten to where you are. So there's trust already being built in there. So pushing towards that personal profile is, I think, the way to go. This is my personal opinion based on my study, but also tests over years. Proofread. Please proofread. It is a business platform, a business-focused platform. Treat it almost like a living resume, and you're not going to have typos on your resume. At least you shouldn't have typos on your resume. So please proofread. You're going to come across as not trustworthy, shoddy work, like you don't do your due diligence if you're not proofreading and putting well thought out and well groomed posts onto the platform. It is optimized for mobile, or you should optimize for mobile when thinking about posting on LinkedIn. 57% of users access via mobile. Think about that. So well over half of individuals on there are using LinkedIn on their phone. So if you're not optimizing your posts for mobile, then you're going to, miss out. You're just going to miss out on some opportunities there. And for the most part, though, LinkedIn does a very, very, very good job about converting your posts into something that's digestible on mobile. I've actually found that it's quite hard to not have it already be mobile optimized if you're just taking advantage of posting a standard size photo with a standard size video and standard size text posts. You're not going to fail too hard on this, because LinkedIn does a really great job of converting that to a mobile experience. I am actually struggling to find some examples of, poorly optimized, maybe extra large photos that don't show well in a mobile experience. Might be one thing to consider. But keeping in mind that mobile users dominate the platform is going to be important. Native videos. We talked a little bit about this in the media. 3 times the text post and 5 times more likely to start a conversation. It's the same with every platform. Video gains the most interaction, especially if it's catching, right? You have that first 5 to 7 seconds to catch somebody's attention, be it a good title slide, be it a good hook or catch. And then native videos are getting indexed better than linking to a YouTube video or to like a Vimeo service, an extra service. So if you can post natively, make that part of your strategy, I highly, highly encourage you to do so if you're really trying to drive engagement. And then I also like to put create clean posts. What this means is treat every post like an executive summary. If you haven't had to write an executive summary, basically means don't waste people's time. Just don't. Get to the point, give just enough information that they can understand the point that you're making, and don't spend too much time getting mired in the details and just going off track. We all have heard those rambling storytellers that just give way too much information when the point of the matter is XYZ. So let's talk about XYZ. Let's give some supporting details and let's move on, right? Let's bring the value first and don't mire it with a bunch of fluff, right? So keep that executive summary sort of ideology in mind, because people are going to appreciate that. They're going to be able to digest it quickly and then leave their comments, thus driving engagement. Finally, let's talk a little bit about my thoughts. So some of these thoughts are coming from trial and error, living on this platform as not only a piece to growing my business, both for this YouTube channel and for previous lives, but from other researchers as well. So first thing I'd like to point out, it's changing. It is not so much, I shouldn't say not so much. It still very much is a business focused platform. And we mentioned business a couple times and I told you I'd visit this point. What you're going to find mostly on here are sales folks, marketing, advertising, B2B type organizations and individuals. But then you also have a whole sect of professionals that just want to have sort of a living resume on there. But the most active folks that you're going to see on there, like I said, are going to be in that sales, marketing, B2B, advertising, finance space. So if you're in those spaces or you're providing a service to those spaces, you're going to find the greatest impact on this platform. But with things like a higher investment in videos and in stories, you're starting to see the platform change to more of a social media platform versus a business media platform, I guess, which is a really interesting change. And it's changing the dialogue on the platform quite a bit. I've seen the change over the years to very, very business and sales and marketing and advertising and finance focused conversations to people are bringing in, maybe to the detriment of themselves, a lot of personal information and personal opinions that may be a little too controversial for the platform. But that is changing the overall tone in that you have people going very, very hard in the extreme into maybe too personal. So it's giving people a lot more comfort to, I guess, show themselves and who they're about more, which I think is the good thing about this. Because again, circling back to something I said earlier, where we want to know. We want to know who we're doing business with. And if we can get a semblance or a sense of who that person is and what they're about, you're going to feel more comfortable doing business with that person. Now, those oversharing have kind of pioneered the way just a little bit, but be careful of that as well. Don't overshare. People are there for business connections. And it's just a good rule of thumb in general on most platforms is don't overshare, right? Bring value, bring people into your life and letting them know who you are, but you don't want to overshare in any given sense. And we see that business, finance, marketing are still reigning supreme on that platform. But you're going to see individuals like me posting their YouTube videos that are talking to this crowd now versus just, or one of my favorites that I'm seeing now is sales professionals talking about different sales strategies, or marketing and advertising professionals talking about different strategies in their field. Or you see this in recruiting a lot as well, where recruiters will talk about what open jobs they have and really draw you in to sort of apply and say, hey, I saw your video on this new opening that you have. It sounds like it might be a good fit with a company I could get along with. What do you got? Right? So there's a lot of different ways to like lead with value and lead with service on the platform that I'm really excited about. We talked about how video is growing like wildfire. I don't want to beat that too much, but if you can and you are comfortable doing so, video is going to create a lot of top of funnel activities for you. And I know I mentioned that before. If you don't know what top of funnel activities are, basically think about your sales funnel, right? All the activity up at the top that is trying to bring people in and down through your sales process to finally close a sale and thus make money. Right? And almost everything in life is a sale, regardless of your service or platform. You're trying to sell somebody on something. right? So keep that in mind. A lot of great top of funnel activities, and if you could take advantage of video, if you're comfortable taking advantage of video, leverage it. And if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, find somebody who's in your business who is comfortable and start leveraging that. And we can talk more about that until we're blue in the face. But just remember, video. Your personal brand is everything. This kind of circles back a little bit to don't overshare. Keep in mind your personal brand, who you are, what you're doing when putting yourself out there, what you're saying, because again, everything is about sales in life. Like you are either trying to gain somebody's attention, so you're selling them on what you have to say is worth listening to, or you're truly selling a business, a service, or a product. Really, in almost every interaction, right? So making sure that you are keeping your personal brand in mind is important for that reason. But also, as you grow your network on the platform, it's going to allow you to gain additional reach to individuals that might be interested in your service. And feel free to explore, push the boundaries a little bit. Maybe not so far, so extreme in the oversharing category, as we had mentioned, but feel free to get creative with the platform. I think there is still this sense of, I guess, staunchiness on the platform, very like suit and tie kind of feel on LinkedIn. But people that are mixing it up and throwing in like their Twitch streams, or, my I guess my ventures in Bali, right? Because they're a travel blogger. And, feel free to mix it up. People are like, it still catches people off guard because there is a bit of this staunchiness, this like over professionalism on the platform that I feel can be mixed up a little bit, and break out of those boundaries a little bit, and show people who you are, but still in a very professional way, even though it might be a little different than what they are used to. LinkedIn can be a very, very powerful tool for top of funnel activities in the business, marketing, advertising, finance, recruiting space. If you're doing any B2B service, so business to business services, this can be a great platform for you. Plus, I really do love it as an online resume. So maybe even if your services don't necessarily apply to those fields, you can still leverage it to capture your thoughts on your particular industry, share videos, and gain mind share. Because as the platform evolves, you're going to be an early adopter. You're already going to be there as it opens up to new industries, as new industries start to discover the power of the platform. Because again, it's all business focused, either about platform or services or message. LinkedIn is going to be there for you to connect with other business professionals in your industry. Sure, is it a little siloed as to what industries it affects today? Yes, absolutely. That's going to widen as people explore capabilities with LinkedIn. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it, subscribe. I don't charge any services. I don't have any consulting fees or courses that I'm selling. I'm here to grow this YouTube channel and help you build your business in the digital realm. And we're going to be talking about a couple more platforms in the very near future, as well as giving you additional commentary on building businesses and what to keep in mind while you do so. So your support is much appreciated. Thank you, and we will see you again next time.